Thank you very much, Johnson, and good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well, wherever you are. I am fine, and I've also been pleased to hear about the work you're doing in the organizations, and also your enthusiasm to contribute to make the right to learn stationary drive a success. Boniface Harrison, Executive Director of Moema Action Posts. Moema Action Post is a social enterprise focused on digital skills, climate action, and civic engagement. We have walked the journey of the right to learn stationary drive with Sabiko group of friends since the inception of the campaign, where we have supported a lot with digital awareness and generally matters photography, designing, and everything. And it is our delight that this initiative continues being a success and transformative to our beneficiaries, who are children, teachers, and the community at large. Today's session on safeguarding children through responsible photography and videography is going to give us a guide, a moral guide on what we should do when we have the feeling to capture a moment during the event. And to just give a bit of context, you may be asking, why is this guy talking to us about photography and videography? What moral authority does he have to speak to us about such issues? And just to mention, I have been accredited by the Media Council of Kenya as a public communications practitioner. And this is as a result of the work that we have done on digital platforms over time while implementing our work. Secondly, I am deeply passionate about media and communications, and if I had not landed to my profession, social work and community development, I could have started journalism or international relations. But also social work is very integral in media, because what we are talking about safeguarding is actually ensuring that we preserve the dignity of our target audience. And so you will forgive me for the date of the presentation was 1st August. I was very ready last time, but I am also very ready today. So we all have the urge to capture a moment, as I had mentioned. Sometimes you see the children happy, you find a moment that you can also upload on your platforms to showcase that you are at a certain event on Saturday. And also in development world, when you want to prove that you have actually been creating impact, then you will need to showcase media, to show photos that actually the work we do is real. We have real people. When you are also doing communications on your pages, you don't want to do posters all the time. You also want to show people. But children are a different category of people because the law recognizes them as minors, and so they deserve extra care and protection, because these are people who are not independent in their decision making. And so the law does not recognize them as autonomous people who can make decisions on their own. And the burden of protecting them is on us, because we are the ones who are interacting with them. And so there are chances that people who are not very autonomous and very strong on their own can be taken advantage of. That is why safeguarding is important. And so when we are capturing our moments, there are key principles that we need to acknowledge, or rather laws or the rights of children that we need to acknowledge. That children have a right to privacy. That is the first thing. Children have a right to dignity. Privacy is that their data should not be publicly disseminated. For example, you don't want children to be known where they live. You don't want children to be known their registration numbers. You don't want children to be known the kind of life they live at a personal level in class. Their dignity is humanness. You don't want to portray a child in a situation that is not respectful to human life. For example, a child who is crying, a child who looks malnourished, a child who does not look in a proper position should be protected from public view. Safety. Children should not be exposed to risk. For example, in areas where there are falling objects or in areas where their security can be compromised. You know, there are many issues around children about them being kidnapped, and there are a lot of issues about trafficking as well. So we have a huge responsibility to ensure that the details we are sharing about children are not details that can be used to connect dots by ill-intending people. Respect, that is for everyone, but we have to enhance it more for children because children, as we mentioned, are people who need protection from adults because they are not able to make decisions on themselves and also protect themselves. So for example, a child is upset after losing a game. Do not take or share photos of them crying. Instead, capture moments of encouragement or teamwork. The legal basis of this is in Article 53 of the Constitution and the Children Act of 2022. We have a new law on children issues, which is the Children Act of 2022. So when a child is crying, they have lost a game or they look disappointed, those photos have a tendency of being used to solicit funding and to showcase that children are really suffering, but they're illegal. It is wrong to showcase a child in a bad situation. Before you take a photo or video, ask yourself whether the parent or guardian has given their consent. That is very important. We understand there are schools that already take consent from the parents earlier on, but today even a parent's consent is not enough because we have engaged in discussions with even stakeholders from Kenya Editors Guild, from the Media Council of Kenya, and we have had conversations about how long should a consent serve. Is it forever? When you listen to the conversation about Mbavu Destroyer and Oga Obina, there's a time, not Mbavu, there's this other guy who won the fight. What was his name? What was his name? That guy who won the fight. You guys don't watch boxing. That boxing we do.
But yeah, we know he won. We know he won. But he won.
Oh, that guy is called Majembe. This guy is called Majembe. And one of the issues they were talking about when they refused to join the second fight was the duration of their contract as to for how long will his rights to own his media be taken away from him. So those conversations have also been there. I think a mature consent should be done in high consultation with professional media practitioners and even lawyers to ensure that it's a consent that can materialize because a child can grow up and they decide that their rights were infringed by their parents. So that's also another key thing we need to consider. Is the child comfortable? It's wrong to take a photo of a child who is expressing disinterest in a photo. For example, if you see a child anainamia chini, do not insist on photographing them because they are not comfortable with you taking that photo. Is the photo necessary anyway? One of the principles of data collection is collect only the data that you need. Is the data you're collecting important? Yeah, are you taking photos of children with a message in that photo? What is the end goal of the photo or video that you've just taken? Could this image put the child at risk? And we will get to see how some of the photos can put children at risk. If you listen to a guy called Bright Gamelli, there's a guy who is a cybersecurity expert who shares how even without a person hacking your phone, they can connect dots based on what you post on social media. For example, you post the gym you go to, you post the supermarket you go to, you post the route you use for your morning walk, you post the church you go to, you post your gate, you post your car. A person can connect those dots and actually find you wherever you are and do whatever they want to do with you. So some of the images that we can take could put children at risk. For example, displaying the registration numbers, because a person who is ill intending can go to school and say, I want to see child registration number 1192, you know. So the teacher cannot, he gets confused. Sometimes the teacher could think that, how could you know the registration number of a child if you're not related to them? So you have access, but that is data that was shared through. And let me tell you how photos can be useful. If you saw the Olkalau documentary by NTV, photos shared innocently by an MP candidate were used to connect dots of who were actually the goons in Olkalau. So you may take a photo innocently, but that photo can be used to derive information that you are not even aware of. For example, today I could be wanting to know where so and so's child. It could be a love triangle. Somebody has 3 wives, and the first wife is looking. Hears that children they live in Kibera na mzee ni analipanga fees huko. Bibi wa kwanza yeye amepanga mambo yake mbaya na anatafutanga vile atakuja kupata chance. Unaona hii activity iko Kibera, iko YMCA. Hebu niangalie nione kama nitaona hako katoto. Anaangalia hii picha hii imepigwa hii sini ile kichwa ya, and it is true. As we took photos innocently, and kumbe hii photo, it is being used for other reasons which we were not aware of. So we have to be critical thinkers in the kind of media that we are sharing. A child says, I don't want my picture taken, or they show you gestures of not being interested in taking that photo, please do not proceed and take that photo. Just let the child stay comfortable. Oh, I was shocked. I was trembling. I was wondering where my slides have gone to. Yeah, so this is where, yeah, because it's been long since I looked at those slides, but I know everything that is in the slides. So capture responsibly, focus on learning activities, especially during the breakout sessions, the mentorship tracks. Take back photos. I'm sure the facilitators would not have a lot of issue with their images being captured. They should also sign their consent forms so that, or express their satisfaction or their comfort with being photographed and videoed. Then capture learning activities. That is objective. Capture group discussions, all right? Capture games and teamwork. Capture mentorship sessions. So for example, a wide shot of learners participating in a reading session, a wide photo. That, and preferably photos that don't spotlight the face of a particular child. You don't insist on that particular child. You take a group photo, preferably a back photo or a wide photo that really shows many faces without spotlighting only one. And then, okay, we were here. Never capture or share a photo of a child who's crying, school ID cards or report cards. That we should keep it private. Full names with photos. And for example, is when we are sharing impact stories. Sometimes you may want to share the depth of the challenges that children in Kibera are facing with scarcity of learning materials. And you may be tempted to say, meet Brian Mutesia from Kibera. Their original home is in Machakos, but situations have led them to live in Kibera. He is suffering and he doesn't have pens. Or the child shares their full names in videos and when they are speaking. I think it is better to capture just a story without capturing the full names of the children, or not sharing impact stories that spotlight the full names of children. And because why? In the future, a person may want to live a different life. For example, they may not want their past to be tracked. They have themselves chosen to stay off social media. There are very big people, doctors, professors, very senior people who are nowhere in social media. They run pseudo accounts and everything. So sometimes if you just search Johnson Ongai, and there's a story that was written about Johnson Ongai 20 years ago, that he was suffering too much in Kibera when he was a child. He didn't have control of that story. There are people who have reached out to me, my colleagues in campus, people who get jobs that require them to get off social media. For example, you may get a job with the NIS, you may get a boss who doesn't want you to be on social media or any of your stories. You may work with the CIA, you may work with senior organizations, even law firms. There are some law firms which don't require people's stories to be published online. Like a judge. A judge is nowhere on social media. So it's important to protect people's privacy. Let's share general stories, especially for people who we don't have close relationships with. For example, if I read a story about Johnson can reach out to me and tell me, hey, Boni manze, ile article fulani tuliandika, ebu delete. Kuna form fulani natengeneza hivi, naambia wewe acha nikuonyeshe maneno. Mimi na delete, tunaendelea na maisha. Those are people who have ability to make decisions on their own. But just imagine umepublish story leo, hiyo account imelokiwa, alafu mtoto na realize 30 years later aliandikiwa yeye alikuwa na suffer. Kumbe ni yeye alikuwa anakula pesa ya kalamu. Mzazi hata alikuwa na shida. So those are some of the issues that we need to protect people from. Children crying or in compromising situations, school ID or report cards, full names with photos, school badges and exact locations. Social media check. Before posting, ask yourself if this is respectful. Is this respectful? Does it protect the children's identity? Let it not be possible to track the child's whereabouts using a photo or video that you have shared online. Could it embarrass them later? We have just talked about that. Let's ensure that we get full stories. And let me tell you, good people, people lie about stories. They lie a lot. And stories are not as you may see them. And many times when I'm walking in town with my friends and they are generous to donate to the beggars, to the street children, and they sympathize with them, there are genuine cases of people who need help, but there are also notorious characters in those people. People who are very defiant, people who have caused trouble where they could be safe, and that's why they've ended up in the streets. So even when you are in charity, be aware that not everybody is genuinely suffering. Not everybody who is genuinely telling their stories. There are people who have mastered the art of soliciting funds from organizations, from individuals by portraying themselves as vulnerable. I had a story of a Kamba presenter who received a story on air, live on air. The guy didn't do due diligence. So a caller calls in, the story is very sympathetic, anamwambia vile amepigwa, chief amefanya nini. It was a very touching story. And out of emotion, the journalist went haywire. He was overcome by emotion. I started cursing, akatusi chief, akasema watu ni wabaya, matusi mbaya ya Kikamba, matusi mbaya sana. And then 2 days later, it turns out that this story was made up. It was not real. So, some people are not saying the truth. Some people could be lacking pens, but some could be eating the money. So, we should be careful. Some people could be camouflaging. So, the stories we share should be general. Let's say let's be positive. Say we have supported learners to get more access to learning materials. Just let's end it there. But if it's a true deep story that you want to tell, it should be done due diligence. Find a deeper connection of that story and find it out so that you can publish credible information. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in problems. Like for example, this poor child finally got school supplies. That is wrong. Today, stationery distribution supported learners to continue their education with confidence. That is respectful. That is progressive. Let us adopt that way of reporting and telling stories that are positive. Because sometimes this aspect of focusing on the problem statement could lead us also in problems. Taking selfies with children. Now, keep the interactions professional. I have a personal issue. If there are people I respect at a personal level as children, I do not like carrying people's children anyhow. I don't like getting too close with children I don't know very much. It is a reservation. I love children, but it's a reservation that I have because children are very sensitive people. Teacher Dan, I'm a good person. I love children, but I am very careful with children who I don't know. With children who I don't know, I respect them because you know a child cannot tell a story, and a child's story cannot be taken. It is the guardian's story that prevails. So, for example, I see some of my there are people who interact a lot with children. You find that a person you just find a child somewhere, then you're playing with them, nini. If you are living in the same apartment, they start coming to your house, nini, at the door. They want to run with you there. My friend, you are staring at prison. That is prison you are staring at. There are many things that would take you to prison, but now that could be one of them. It is very important to be very careful. That's the point of keeping interactions very professional. Don't go ahead to start interacting with children and ask them about their girlfriend. Ati nyinyi mnapenda madenge pia, nyinyi mnapenda hii nini, tusiingie hizo story. Tunaenda charity, tunafanya drive yetu. The voice is breaking. Johnson, is that true?
Man, it's okay, very much okay. But you can also hear from maybe Serone. How is it on your end? Okay.
Amazing. So a group selfie with facilitators and learners during the closing ceremony, taken as part of the official event documentation. That is good. A group photo is always the best. A group photo where everybody is seen, just to showcase that this event took place and the banners are visible. That is enough. But taking individual selfies with children and posting them on your personal Instagram or WhatsApp status without organizational approval is wrong. Let me tell you, as much as WhatsApp status expires and it is deeply personal, a WhatsApp status can be used in a court of law. It is a way of data infringing. So if a person notices that you posted them on WhatsApp, apigwe tu screenshots, atumiwe, aambiwe, ana mtoto wako anapostiwa huku, ichukuliwe, iende. WhatsApp status can actually be produced as evidence. These days, even WhatsApp chats can be used as evidence in a court of law or to substantiate employment. If you keep talking with a person on WhatsApp and they want to deny that you work for them, you can take them to go to the WhatsApp chats. So it's very important. Let's avoid personal interactions. Unaweza enda place, upende mtoto, katoto ni kazuri, ni handsome, ni karembo, umekapenda. Lakini haujui kwao. Haujui mtoto. Just let me tell you an example. There's a guy who went to I may not want to tell this story in details, but I saw my brother, my younger brother in some video, and I was like, what? How did my brother end up in this video? And those days, my brother was in primary school that time. So some people went and took photos and videos of my brother. Now I'm wondering, where is my brother appearing in videos? Why? We did not get a request for consent, and I'm seeing my brother in videos. You can imagine. That is my brother, and I may be sympathetic with those people because I know they are small people. But just imagine somebody is living in Kibera, yes, but their aunt lives in the UK. That is very possible. And they see that their nephew has been posted that he is very poor and suffering. So just imagine the action that will be taken against you. It may be severe. So we have to be very careful about individual selfies. Sharing photos and videos, only share through approved channels. Upload photos to the organization's shared drive or designated communications team. Sending children's photos to unrelated WhatsApp groups or using them to promote your own business or personal brand. I believe this is something that we may know, but it is illegal to use any data against the intended purpose. For example, if it is right to learn, those photos can only be used for reporting and activities related to that program. It may be unfair to use right to learn children photos to market another business or another activity that is not related to right to learn. That is very important. Also, considering that this is a very sensitive affair that we are dealing with of children, we always talk with Johnson about data protection, because prevention is better than cure. Any day, it is better to prevent than to wait for later consequences. So even when you're sharing photos, it's important for them to be reviewed to see if there are any photos that are exposing children in a way that we may want to veer off. Even if we select some few photos, they are enough to tell a story, and they can even be reused in the future to look back at the impact that was created by this event. So it is not a must that we have 200 photos. It is possible to have 50 photos that are safe, that are clean, that portray objectivity and respect. Think before you post. Ask yourself if you would be happy if that was your child. Ask yourself if this photo protects the child's dignity. Ask yourself if it is necessary to post that photo. If the answer is no, or I'm not sure, then don't post it. Remember that children may forget the photo was taken, but the internet may never forget. I'm telling you. And you don't want to be in your old age, enjoying your old age, and a Gen Z of that time starts knocking at your door and tells you that you have interfered with their deals because they went somewhere and said that they touched their first million at age 18. and yet articles on Web Action Posts are saying that this guy was needy, came from a very humble background, but the guy is videoing the ambience and driving a Mercedes. So it is very important to ensure that we are not part of people's history that may cause them problems. The issues about children may look conversational and moral, but they are very much legal. Very legal. And the consequences of children issues are very dire. And there is a lot of legal backing, even from international organizations. There are the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We have international agencies like the UNICEF. We have international laws about protection of children. We have also the domestic laws that stipulate that all people, and particularly children, have the right to privacy. That is Article 31. Read your constitution. Article 53, rights and best interests of the child. Any day, when you're not sure, even when the court is not sure of what to do about children issues, the principle of the best interest of the child is always applied. For example, your reasons could be very logical, very reasonable, but what are the best interests of the child? That is a viable principle that applies in law. Section 3 of the... Let's go.
Guys, I told you we are going to be at Kise na nimeband. Acha tuanze tena.
Video moja.
Ukifanya behind the scenes. Welcome to the annual Youth Climate Innovation Summit. My name is Ndanu, and today, if you look behind me, you'll see a lot of tents. We are at Kise, venye niliwaambia. So let us see what young people here have to say. The energy is real. Let us talk to Njeru. Atuambie anafanya nini huku leo. Hi, Njeru.
Hello. Hi.
Tell us about yourself, what you do. Yeah.
My name is Zotere Njeru. I represent a political party by the name Green Thinking Action Party. This is where we front the agenda on green agenda, especially sustainable livelihoods, kindness, and passionate environmental conservation. And in that, we have 3 pillars: ethical and effective governance, and ensuring that in ethical and effective governance we can get the right leaders for the community, so that we can transform the community through green agenda and environmental conservation.
That is really nice. Mmesikia, mambo ni live. So, tell us, what were your expectations coming here today?
I think I would start by mentioning that my expectations have been met, because I wanted to see where young people are communicating, having their voices heard, especially on matters climate action, and we've learned a lot, because I've been able to also learn that it's not only planting of trees that, of course I know this, but it comes as a reminder that it's not only trees that bring the change in climate action. It's the activities that we continue to do in each every day. Number one, it's ensuring that we have policies that safeguard the environmental space for people, especially young people, to be able to fit in those spaces, and not only fit or give their voices, but also make money out of it, get income.
Hapo kwa pesa.
Hapo kwa pesa muhimu.
All right.
Yes.
So, we keep talking about youth-led climate action, youth-led this, youth-led that. What does that mean to you?
Youth-led, to me, appears to be an initiative or a step young people need to take to be at the forefront of making decisions. And not only decisions, contributing to the decisions they make to turn into policies that can be used to create a just or effective world, whereby environmental conservation is not a conversation that comes when we experience floods or there is trees being cut down. We are fronting this campaign or this conversation in each and every day of our lives. When you look at Kenya, agriculture is our backbone. And when you look at the current transition of Kenyans, is that people have moved away from farming and agriculture in general. But we are seeing a transformation where young people are adapting smart agriculture. That is what I'll refer to as youth-led climate action, youth-led policies, and youth-led agriculture, or anything that involves young people. Number one is to ensure that young people, by leading, they are in the spaces that decisions are made. Number two, they are the same people implementing these decisions and policies. That is what youth led to me.
That is quite insightful. So, Leo, as you live in this place, what is one promise you can make, and who is going to hold you accountable for it?
Personally, I'll ensure that the trees we plant are growing, and to ensure that we have an initiative through Plant Your Age that involves planting trees equal to your age. We have what is called My 35. My 35 is shortly that you have 5 elements, and out of the 5 elements you plant 7 trees to represent each. That gives you 35, so My 35, whereby let every Kenya grow, let every family grow Kenya's future, whereby we as a political party as well, we will have the manifesto, the Youth Green Manifesto, adapted by the party to be able to see what we can front, what we can champion for and advocate for, so that that is implemented even in Parliament and County Assembly.
Oh, that is quite a promise. We're going to hold you accountable for that.
And we will be sure to walk this journey together.
Yeah. So, mwenye hakukuja leo, what will you tell them? What did they miss?
I think they've missed a lot. Number one is they've missed the chance to air their views, to give their opinions, to see what young people outside are doing, to be inspired, to be transformed, and they have missed the opportunity to interact with young people who are like-minded in ensuring that climate action, climate justice, and just transition is effective and happens as we watch. So for us here, we are privileged and honored to be here, because we get to experience a world that brings people together for a common cause.
Oh, that is nice. It is really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kuzombo.
Yeah.